All right, good evening, everyone. So we're just going to start in a comfortable seat. If you want, you can sit on your blanket. If just to elevate your hips, it helps you sit up a little bit straighter, a little bit more easily. And maybe just roll your shoulders up and back. We're going to start, we're kind of just stretching out our head and neck, that area that we carry a lot of tension. And we're going to kind of try to stretch out each body part today in class. If you want, you can place one foot in front of the other. That just kind of opens up one of the hips, if that's comfortable for you. And we're going to take our hands out to the side, so fingertips are trying to reach towards the back of your, the side of your mat, sitting up tall. And then you can just drop one ear towards the shoulder, but try not to lean to the side. So just kind of dropping that ear and maybe placing the hand on the head, just applying a little pressure. And then this hand, fingertips are reaching down towards the mat to just kind of help the energy draw the other side down. So you just kind of get that nice neck stretch, a little bit of release here. Starting to lengthen your breath. Good. If you want, you can even close your eyes. And then we're just going to kind of not like bring your chin up a little bit and then lower it down a few times. Stretching it out a little bit more, just up and down, just small movements. And maybe once or twice more. And then you can release your hand and we'll just bring our chin down towards our chest and then roll our head over to the other side. Kind of let it hang there. You want applying a little pressure with the other hand. Energy's reaching out through the other finger as it's reaching down towards the mat. Taking a few deep breaths here, just allowing that area to kind of just stretch, allow that tension to release. And then maybe lifting your chin up and bringing it back down a few times. And then from here, you can bring your chin down towards your chest. You're going to take both hands behind your back. Maybe just taking your pointer fingers and just kind of massaging those little points between your neck and the top of your head. And we're going to just gently bring the chin down and lift it up a few times. And then bringing your chin up towards the sky so your head's tilted back and just up and down a few times from here too. Good. And then just roll your head and neck out once or twice more. And we'll just take a few more breaths in our seated position, just sitting up nice and tall, maybe drawing the shoulders up and back once or twice more. And we're just going to really use this time before we start class to really start to become present. So start to lengthen your breath a little bit more, taking long, deep inhales through your nose, long, deep exhales out through your nose. With each breath, just feel the tension starting to release, your body starting to relax a little bit more, and really just starting to become present. Just observing and noticing the feelings of your surroundings. So out in the marina, just noticing kind of that medium wind, kind of cooling us off right now. The sounds of the waves, the wind, the boats. Embracing all of this is part of our practice, part of our experience this evening. Just letting go of anything else that's been on your mind and just coming to just really being present. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. And then you can open up your eyes, and we'll inhale to just reach our arms out and up. Exhale to reach your arms out and back down. And we'll just do that 2 more times, just moving at your own pace with your own breath. Just energies reaching out. Maybe looking up towards the sky. One more time. Good. And then we're going to come to our first yin yoga pose. It's going to be a child's pose. So with your blanket, you can use it as extra padding for your knees if you need it. So you're just going to have it the width of the mat, and then take your knees out wide on the blanket, sitting back towards your heels the best that you can, and then just reach your arms forward. So option to keep the arms straight, or you could even just let the forearms relax on the mat and let the head relax down on the mat. We're going to start here, and we're just going to kind of add on some variations. And for our yin yoga class, we'll be holding each of the poses at least 3 minutes up to 5 minutes or so, just depending on the pose or the variation. So really just allow your body to sink into the pose. Yin yoga is a more passive type of yoga. So you want to just allow your body, even though we're trying to get a nice deep stretch, we really want to allow the muscles to be able to relax and release. And by holding the pose longer, that's where we're getting the benefits, is that gentle pressure of the pose over a longer period of time to really get into those deep tissues in the ligaments, the joints, and the bones. And really just start to tune into your body right now, noticing where in the pose you're feeling the stretch. So for child's pose, it's targeting the inner thighs, a little bit of the hips. It should feel good on your back. And just gently stretching the arms and the shoulders as well. From here, just moving nice and slow, you're going to start to walk your hands back about halfway, and we're going to come to thread the needle variation. So go ahead and take your right hand underneath the left armpit, and you're going to bring the right shoulder and the right side of the head down. Now, if it doesn't feel comfortable to have that right side of the head down, you can just keep the forehead down. With your left hand, you can either keep it right where it is, or you can bring it behind your lower back to kind of release that left shoulder. So kind of getting a little bit more right now, not only into our hips and our inner thighs, but also into the shoulders a little bit more. And just take one more deep breath here. And then you can take that left hand down, press it down to the mat. Just kind of pause through at the center and take your time to switch sides. So taking the opposite hand underneath, bringing the left shoulder, left side of the head down. If you want, reaching that right hand behind your lower back. Good. Coming back to your breath here. One more deep breath here. And then you can take that right hand back down. Take your time to walk your hands back. We'll bring the knees together and just take a counter stretch. So option to stay up here, just interlacing the hands behind your back, allowing the shoulders to come down and back and just allowing the legs to relax. If you want, you can come forward into a child's pose variation, either keeping the hands interlaced or just palms down. Staying there at least 5 or 6 deep breaths, whatever variation you want. And then you can slowly make your way up, and we're going to set up for our next pose. So we're going to have the blanket for extra padding for our knees, and we're going to come to dragon pose. So it's going to be right foot forward, left knee back. Good. All right, so we'll take a moment here to set up. You want to make sure that you have a long distance between your front heel and your back knee, so you might want to lift that back knee up and see if it can go back a little bit further. And then you want to check in with your front knee and make sure it's right over top of the ankle. You don't want it forward or you don't want it back. All right, from here you have some options. Fingertips can stay down on the mat because we're mostly stretching our legs, or if it feels better, you can keep the hands up on the knee, or you can do both. Maybe you have the hands down here for part of the time, and then maybe that kind of gets too much pressure on your hands or for your back, and then you can come up here if you want part of the way through the pose. But just take a moment in this pose and really check in with your body. This pose is targeting mostly underneath the right leg, a little bit the hip and the inner leg, but you're also getting a nice stretch along the left side as well. Just coming back to your breath and using this as your time for yourself. Just finding some stillness and some quietness within. And just being able to sit with the pose even as it gets hard. If it's painful, definitely change it for any reason, but just trying to sit with the stillness. And then from here, we're just going to add a variation, a half splits variation. So you're going to walk your hands back, and you're going to work towards straightening that front leg. So if it doesn't straighten all the way because you have tight hamstrings, that's fine. You can keep a little bend in that knee. You want to think to square your hips, so think left hip back, right hip forward, and then maybe fold forward, bring your forehead towards that front knee. This variation, you should feel it a lot more in the front hamstring muscle. And then we have about 1 more minute in the pose. If you want to, you can just stay right here. But if you want to work towards going deeper, so closer to like a more of a splits instead of a half splits, you can maybe bring that one foot forward, the other foot back if you wanted to, just for fun. This might be fun for some people to work towards a split, but if not, no big deal. One or two more deep breaths here. All right, from here, take your time to make your way out. However, you can come out. If you just want to come or plop over to the side, that's fine. If you want to bring that leg back, that's fine. Exactly. And let's just stretch it out. So just kind of doing a few hip circles, straightening that leg in the back, just kind of working out any kinks. And before we do the other side, we'll just take a few breaths in child's pose. So just giving that side a little bit of time to release before we do the other side. Good, and then from here, take your time to make your way up, and we'll make our way onto the other side. Taking your time to set up, bringing the opposite leg forward, and then take that back knee back, getting that extra padding if you need to. Check your front knees right over top of your ankle. Good. And then just setting up here and just knowing you can keep the fingertips down, fists down, or even stay up here because our focus really isn't the upper body, it's the lower body. And you'll be feeling the same stretch whether you're up here or down here. You don't feel it? That's good. Yeah. It's a little different for everybody where you feel it. But yeah, you're definitely supposed to feel it here. Probably most of us will be feeling it in here. Maybe not. Maybe not. That's why we add on the half splits variation. And then just kind of check in. So you want to keep your spine in line so it's natural to just kind of drop your head all the way down, but maybe just slightly bring your head up so you're kind of looking at the mat in front of you, kind of just keeping that spine a little bit more straight instead of bringing the chin to the chest. It's like good practice. And then take your time to make your way into that half splits variation. So walking the hands back, working towards straightening that front leg. It doesn't need to be straight, but just working towards it and then squaring the hips. So think left hip back, right hip forward, bringing that forehead down towards the front knee. Flex. So when you flex, you feel it more in through the hamstring. Yeah. And then for the last minute or so of the pose, you can either stay here if you're feeling a really good stretch here, or if you just for fun want to try to work your way towards more of a splits or just a deeper stretch, you can either send that back knee back more or that front foot front more. But you don't want to get into where it's painful or super uncomfortable. You just want to, just feel a nice, good stretch. About 2 more deep breaths. And then take your time to make your way out. You could either roll onto your side if you're in that half splits, or just slide that leg back. Stretching that leg out a little bit behind you, maybe doing some hip circles. And then we'll make our way to a seat. Grab a drink of water if you have water with you. All right, so we're going to do a seated forward fold just as an option. You don't have to do it, but it's just an option. If you like it with your blanket, you can roll the blanket up kind of the long way so it's skinny and place it underneath your knee to just allow the knees to soften in the forward fold. So it might look something like this. So it just allows that soft bend in your knee because since we're holding it longer, we don't want to keep the feet flexed and engaged. We want to allow them to just kind of release into the pose. And if you start with it and you don't like it, you can just move it to the side. All right, so taking your time, making your way into the forward fold. Allow the ankles to relax, the feet to just kind of be loose. So they're not really pointed or flexed. They're just kind of relaxed, making your way down. So normally in the pose, we would let our shoulders, let our head relax. But if for any reason this bothers your back to just kind of stay rounded so much, you can always lift the chest up and do it from here and focus more on hinging from here. But trying to come to your edge in the pose, and your edge in yin yoga isn't the absolute furthest you can stretch. It's a point where you're feeling a good stretch, a really deep stretch, but you're not forcing it. You're still able to find that little middle ground where you can stretch, but also let the muscle relax as well. So it's not too loose. And then just come back to your breath. Tell your body to just relax into the stretch. Allow your hamstrings to relax. Seeing if you can go a little bit further now that we've held it a little more than a minute. So a few of the benefits of yin yoga is it helps to bring that fluidity back into the joint muscles that we naturally kind of just lose over time. And it also is really good for cross training. So I know if some of you guys just did a long hike over the weekend, right? How many miles did you do? Awesome. So real sore hamstrings. Yeah. About 2 more deep breaths. And then just slowly walk your hands back, just sitting up straight for a moment. And then we'll bend our knees, take our feet out wide, hands behind our back, and just windshield wiper our knees side to side a few times. Just releasing a tension from our back and bringing some movement back to our legs. All right, and then from here we're going to do a reverse tabletop. So counter stretch for a forward fold, just lifting the hips up high. If it feels okay, just let your head drop back. Good, and then you can make your way down. So we can put our blankets to the side, and we're going to come onto our bellies for Sphinx pose. All right, so this pose is for our back, especially our lower back. So letting your feet relax behind you, making sure your elbows are right under your shoulders. They're not back too much, maybe even just a little bit forward of your shoulders. And then just making sure that your shoulders aren't scrunched up to your ears, that you're drawing the shoulder blades apart. Good. And then from here, just kind of start to allow your lower back to just relax. If you notice it's kind of your back's really tight, you could kind of bring your head down, and just bringing the head down will decrease the stretch in your lower back. And you could even bring it down all the way. If it feels okay, just bring your chest forward and maybe just lift your head forward to increase the gentle stretch on your lower back. And then we have about another minute or so in the pose. So you could either stay here, or if you want to get a deeper back stretch, take the hands wider, straighten the elbows to come into a seal pose. So you don't have to stay here for the whole minute. You might just want to stay here for a few breaths and then come back into regular Sphinx pose. And then when you're ready, take your time to make your way down, and we'll just come onto lying on our belly. So you can bring one side of your head down, hands beside you with your palms up, just allowing your back to lie flat for a few breaths, stretching out one side of your neck. And then you can lift your head up and bring the other cheek down. Good, and then you can make your way up, and we're gonna come back to a seat. Grab a drink of water if you have water. All right. And we are going to set up for shoelace pose. So go ahead and take one leg out long. So maybe start with that right leg out long, and you're gonna cross the left knee on top. And this is different than a seated twist because we're gonna walk that foot over to the side. So you're working towards the knees being on top of each other. So if it's still up here, that's normal. We're just kind of working towards stacking the knees. And then option to keep that right leg out long, or if you can like fairly easily bend it back and that still feels comfortable without the hip being lifted off too much, you can bend it back. So it's either will be here or here. Either way is fine. All right. So while we're here, you can take the feet if you want and bring them in a little closer, and that'll decrease the stretch a little bit in the hips. Or if you send the feet out a little bit, it'll increase the stretch a little bit more in your hips. From here, we're going to stretch out the arms a little bit. So you can take whatever knee's on top, take that opposite arm across. Just drawing the shoulder down and back. Good, and then you can reach that arm up, bending the elbow back, keeping it up here, keeping the chest neutral, maybe bringing the other hand behind your back. Fingertips reaching for each other, but try not to round your back, trying to keep everything lifted, just looking in front of you, stretching out the tricep muscle, also opening up the chest and the shoulders. Just a few breaths here. And then whenever you're ready, you can release your arms. Either just stay here, sitting up straight, or you could walk your hands forward, kind of increasing that stretch in your hips, your legs. About 2 more deep breaths here. And then walk your hands back. Come to sitting up nice and straight. So for a counter stretch, we're going to take that top knee. So maybe your left knee, going to bring it out, and you're going to place your feet kind of feet to knee. So you're sitting like this. See if you guys, yeah, foot to knee. Good. And then we're going to add a twist. So twisting towards your right, looking over your right shoulder. Opposite hand to opposite knee. Good. All right, then you can just come back through to the center. Just shake out your legs a few times. And we'll set up for the other side. So opposite leg out long, maybe your left leg out long. Place the other foot on top. Working towards walking that foot to the side, stacking the knees. Either staying here, just noticing if this side is much different. If you're able to bend that other knee back and it still felt okay, maybe trying it on this side as well. Playing with if you want to bring your feet closer in or bring them out. Good. And then from here, we'll stretch out the arms. So stretching out the other arm across, drawing the shoulder down and back. And then you can reach it up, bending the elbow back, keeping your head and chest in neutral. Opposite hand. Good. And then you can release your arms. Maybe just staying here, sitting up straight. You already feel it a lot in your hips, or if you want to increase the stretch, you're going to start to make your way forward. About 2 or 3 more breaths. And then you can start to walk your hands back. Just kind of pause at the top. And then when you're ready, twist your legs. We're going to line up foot to knee. Trying to get that hip down if possible. And then we're going to twist in the opposite direction. So opposite hand to opposite knee, looking over your shoulder. And then you can make your way through to the center. Just kind of shake out your legs a few times. Grab a drink of water, and we're going to finish on our back. So just making your way onto your back. We'll start off by just hugging our knees in towards our chest and just moving in a few circles. So about 3 circles in each direction, massaging your lower back onto the mat. And then we're going to set up for a figure 4 stretch. So right ankle above the left knee. So figure 4. You can lift the left foot up, interlacing your hands behind that left thigh. Or if you want to go deeper, you can interlace the hands on top of that left knee. Allow your head to relax back onto the mat. Energetically pressing that right knee out to the side. So you're feeling the stretch on the outside of your right hip, your right glute. If you want, you can roll your ankles out a few times. And staying in the figure 4, we're going to straighten the left leg, stretching a little bit more into the hamstring. So you're still in that figure 4 stretch, but you're just straightening that leg. Good. You can either keep the hand behind your left thigh, or you can walk your hand up the left calf, gently pulling it towards you. And then you can bend that left knee, uncross your legs, and we're just going to stretch it out long. So reach your arms up overhead, straighten your legs. Just take a nice long stretch all the way from your fingertips through your toes. And then we'll set up for the other side. So bending your knees, placing the left ankle above the right knee, just making sure you switch sides. Interlacing a hand behind the thigh or on top of the knee. If you want, maybe rolling out your ankles a few times. Energetically pressing that left knee back to go a little bit deeper into the hip and the glute. And then staying in the figure 4, we're going to straighten the right leg, stretching the hamstring a little more. You can either keep the hand interlaced around the right thigh, or you can reach up towards the calf or the ankle to pull it a little bit deeper towards you. And then you can take your time to make your way out. We're going to stretch it out long again, so straightening your legs, reach the arms up overhead. All right, for our last pose, we're just going to bring our feet straight up towards the sky. So this pose is sometimes called legs up the wall pose, but we're just doing it without a wall. And we're not going to hold it quite as long. So you can either keep the legs straight, you could have a little bend in the knees if that feels better for your back, but we're just kind of allowing the blood flow to start to reverse, which is just good for our circulation, and it kind of helps us relax a little bit more in our Shavasana. About 10 deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, you can just bend your knees, bring your knees in towards your chest, and bring your forehead up towards your knees so you're curled up in a little ball, making yourself nice and tight. And then from here, we're going to release and relax, making our way into Shavasana. So just finding a comfortable position to lie down for the last few moments of class. Or just getting any kind of last little stretch you want to do before coming to Shavasana, that's fine too. Getting out any last movement, any last fidgeting, so that you're able to come to a place of stillness for just about the last 3 minutes or so. Scanning your body and just noticing if you have any particular places left of tension. Just kind of consciously release that area, relax, send some love to that area, and just let go, just release. Allowing your body to sink a little bit deeper into the mat. And using this time to just allow yourself to not have to do anything. Just appreciating the stillness. And then from here, go ahead and take a nice deep inhale in through your nose. Complete exhale. And one more time, nice deep inhale. Complete exhale. And then just start to make some small movements, maybe rolling out your ankles, rolling out your wrists a few times. And then you can reach your arms up overhead like you're waking up in the morning. Maybe bend your knees. Whenever you're ready, rolling onto one side, kind of using it as a halfway point. Staying there for 2 to 3 breaths. And then you can make your way all the way up to a seat. So let's just take a moment to kind of just reflect on your practice. We'll finish by bringing our hands to our heart center, taking one more deep inhale. And exhale, pressing the palms together. Bring your hands together. Thanking yourself for coming out this evening, doing something good for your body, for your mind, taking some time out for yourself, and just allowing the positive energy that you feel from class to be a benefit to yourself and the people around you throughout the evening and throughout the day tomorrow. Namaste. Hey. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Right now.